Hi guys, welcome to lesson 3 of e-learning. This is lesson for Monday, March 23rd, 2020. We're going to talk about the volume of pyramids. So here are some pyramids that you can see. There's square pyramids, triangular prisms, rectangular prisms, hexagonal prisms. On Friday we talked about cones and spheres, and today we are going to talk about pyramids. So here I have a pyramid that's green. A pyramid has a base, and then all of the corners go up to meet into a point, and that is a pyramid. This one has a square base or a rectangular base, so it's a rectangular pyramid. This one here has a triangular base, so it is a triangular pyramid. What you need for today is a pencil, a piece of paper for your notes, and a calculator. So you can use Desmos. I would recommend using one where you can enter and see your work. Don't use the computer one. You can use Desmos or anything that will track your work. Okay. Our objective for today's lesson is I can find the volume of pyramids. We are specifically talking about this one here. So here are some pyramids in real life. There's the pyramids in Egypt. There's a pyramid tent with a square base. There's the pyramids in Paris, France. Louvre, the Louvre is a very famous museum. And they have pyramids here, and then the museum is underneath. And there's 2 small pyramids. It's really cool. Okay, so the formula that we use for pyramids, we try to remember 1, because at this point we would think that we would know the formulas for area and volume. So in order to keep it easier for us, we just need to remember 1 formula, and that is volume equals 1/3 times big B times H. And the big B stands for the area of the base. So if we think about here, the base on this one is a triangle, and the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. Right here, the base is a rectangle, so the area of the base is length times width. And then this would be what we stick in for B, and we can just add in everything else. So our formulas would look like this. I'm going to add in 1/3 here, and the H. Add in 1/3 here, and the H. Right here, this is a pentagonal pyramid, which means that the base is a pentagon, but we don't have to worry about that this year. Okay, so let's do an example. This case, the base of the pyramid is a rectangle. So I'm looking at this right here. So I know that my base is a rectangle. So my area is going to be length times width. So let's go ahead and substitute that into the formula. So instead of that big B, I'm going to write volume equals 1/3 big B. I'm going to write length times width instead, then times H. Don't forget to bring that H back. So what are the parts here? Well, I know that the length and the width are going to come from my base, so that's going to be the 4 centimeters and the 10 centimeters, and then my height comes from the base. The height of your pyramid is from the base all the way to the tipping point, and a straight line should be 90 degrees. So there technically should be a little square here telling us that that's 90 degrees, but this is going to be your height. So let's go ahead and substitute that into our formula. We have volume equals 1/3. Times, so in this case we have 4 and 10, and then my height is 6. And I'm using parentheses for multiplication instead of the dot because I have some issues with the help thing coming up whenever I have it happen. So let's go ahead and multiply these. What I love about multiplication is that we can do them in any order we want. So in fact, I'm going to leave, excuse me, I'm going to leave my fraction for last. And I'm going to do what I know. I know that 4 times 10 gives me 40. And now I need to multiply that by 6. Something else I can do in my head is I know, I'm going to do that up here, that 1/3 times 6, well, that's the same thing as dividing by 3. So 6 divided by 3 gives me 2. So I have volume equals 40 times 2. So my volume here is 80 centimeters cubed. And that's my answer. Now, something else that you can do if you don't like messing with fractions is this formula you can write a different way. We can write it as volume equals big B times H divided by 3. Okay, so that's the same thing. It's not letting me fix it. There we go. So I would just take length times width times height and divide it by 3. Either way is fine. Okay. Why don't you guys go ahead and try this one on your own. I am going to just let time go for a little bit. If you need more time, I'm going to give you guys about a minute, and if you need more time, go ahead and pause it. Okay, that's been a minute. If you need more time, pause the video. We're going to go over it right now. So my base in this case is a rectangle. So the formula that I'm going to use for my base is going to be length times width. And then my height is going to be 6. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to use the divided by 3. So I have length times width times height divided by 3. So length times width was 10 times 8, and then my height was 6 divided by 3. So I have 10 times 8, which gives me 80, times 6 divided by 3. Six divided by 3 is 2, so I have 80 times 2 which gives me my volume of 160 inches cubed. So you can go ahead and do all of this in the calculator, and you can put it in straight from this. Now, I know when I'm in school, I tell you, you have to do every step, but let's go ahead and put this in the calculator. So you have to be very, very careful about order of operations. We have to divide last, okay? So you have to do all the multiplication first and then divide. Actually, does it matter? No, it doesn't. But you want a nice, easy number. So if you did 10 divided by 3, you'd get a decimal. So we don't want to do that. We want to have nicer numbers first. So I'm going to do 10 times 8 times 6 divided by 3. This is what I'm putting into the calculator. I don't know if you guys can see that. Then I press enter. What do I get? 160. Yay. Let's do another one. Okay, so this one's already highlighted. It has a base that is a triangle. So I know that my volume, sorry, not my volume, the base of my triangular pyramid, so this is a triangular pyramid because it has a base that's a triangle. So what I'm going to put in for B is 1/2 base times height. And we have to be careful here because now we have two H's and they don't mean the same thing. So this formula turns into volume equals 1/3 1/2 base times height, and then I still have another height, and they're two different things. So I want to point out that we have two little squares here. That means that those are right triangles, which means that that's our height. So our height here, honestly, with the base, it doesn't really matter. We're going to pick that this one's our height. And then for the triangle, that's the important part. This is our height. Notice I am using all of these measurements. I don't have any extra measurements. However, if they stuck that this was 10 meters here, you'd want to ignore that because that's not our height and we don't need it. Okay, let's go ahead and substitute in. We have volume equals 1/3 times 1/2. What's my base? I'm going to say it is 3.6. And then my height is 3. And then my other height is 4. Okay, I'm going to do the base first. I'm just going to do the inside here. So I have 1/2 times 3.6 times 3. Calculator time. 1/2 in decimal form is 0.5. So that's what I'm going to put in the calculator because it's easier. But you could put 1 divided by 2. But make sure to put parentheses around it. So I'm putting 1 divided by 2 in. Like that. Okay, now I'm going to multiply it by 3.6 and then multiply it by 3. And this is the area of the base of the triangle, 5.4. So I have 1/3 times 5.4 times 4. All right, now I'm going to multiply these numbers. I'm going to deal with dividing last because that's going to give me a nasty number probably if I were to divide earlier. So I have 5.4 times 4. That gives me 21.6. So I have 1/3 times 21.6. Now I'm going to multiply that by 1 divided by 3. So I'm going to show you how I put it in the calculator. So 21.6 times 1 divided by 3. Putting it in like that. Notice the parentheses around the 1 divided by 3. That means that I'm doing that in order. And I get 7.2. So my volume is 7.2 meters cubed or cubic meters. Now, Let's try something else. What if we would have done 21.6 divided by 3? Because 1/3 times a number is the same thing as dividing by 3. Do I get the same thing? Yes, I do. Excellent. You guys try one. You have 1 minute. If you need more time, pause it. Okay, that's time. If you need more time, go ahead and pause it, but we're going to go over it. All right, thing that I notice is that this here is a triangle. That means that my base is a triangle. So I'm going to use the formula for my base for big B, 1/2 base times height. So I'm looking at the bottom here, and I'm just going to identify one of these is going to be my height. So I have 1/2, 6, and 8. Guys, there is an extra number here that we don't need. Okay? I'm going to point it out to you. Notice here how there's this red square. That means that these are the two measure the sides that we want to pay attention to. We don't need this 10. It's a distractor. It's trying to trick you. So we only need the 6 and the 8 for our base. And then we also need the 7 because that's going to be our height. So let's go ahead and do this formula. I'm going to actually do it divided by 3 again. I'm going to do big B over H divided by 3 because I think it's easier. But now I need to substitute in the big B for this here. So I have volume equals 1/2 base times height, and then I have another height, all divided by 3. Okay, let's substitute in. We have 1/2 times 6 times 8 times, and then 7 divided by 3. Okay, I have a fraction there. So 1/2 times 6, honestly, let's try to put this in the calculator. I'm going to put 0.5 instead this time, guys. 0.5 times 6 times 8 times 7. That gets me 168. And I want to divide it by 3. So I get 56. And my volume is 56 kilometers cubed. All right. Hopefully that made sense. If not, email me. Oh, what's your assignment? We are not actually completing an IXL topic. You are going to do kind of a practice quiz on Canvas. So this is not a quiz. It's just 6 questions that you're going to do until you feel comfortable. You can retake this as many times as you want. 6 total questions about volume. There are going to be 3 points per question because it's going to ask you 3 different things. It's going to ask you what shape is it? So the name of the shape, is it a triangular pyramid? Is it a rectangular pyramid? Is it a cone? Is it a sphere? Is it a cylinder? what the actual number is. So for example, the volume is 168, and then the label, is it centimeters cubed? Is it centimeters squared? Is it etc. And then next time, I'll see you live at 9 a.m. on Wednesday, and we're going to talk about surface area. Okay? Please email me if you have any questions. We can set up a one-on-one time if you want to talk to me live before Wednesday. That's fine with me. I did that with a couple students. And Wednesday, what's coming up? Surface area. Friday, we're going to practice. And then Monday, we'll have a quiz. And then spring break, you won't have any assignments if you've kept up for this. Remember, last Monday, our volume assignment about rectangular prisms and cylinders, that's due by Wednesday. So make sure that you're doing those assignments. All right, thanks for watching.